Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and welcome to this edition of the Tuesday telecast. I am really excited to have my new friend and colleague, Martie Smith, come and join us in just a moment. And while we are waiting for her, I want to welcome you all to this live stream and say that you can do this yourself. If you are interested, I can shoot you a way to get involved in StreamYard. And StreamYard, it has its ups and downs, right? But it's technology. We've been having coronal mass ejections coming out at all times, and really we're doing pretty well connecting. So please let me know if I can't see all the comments myself, but I will try to get questions from Martie, and I would love to know where you're watching from, whether you're watching on YouTube or on LinkedIn or on Facebook Live. And with that, let's bring Martie the Miracle into the house.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Martie. I can. Can you hear me? You can't hear me. That's interesting. Let's see. We're having technical difficulties. We'll be right back with you all in a moment. Hello, Lisa. The question is, can the audience hear me? We are having a little bit of technical difficulties here, so we're checking it out and seeing if we can get everyone heard. So if you can hear me, then please give me a thumbs up or something. Hello. Can you hear me? Please let me know in comments or shoot me a note if you can hear me or not. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to add Martie back in. Hi, Martie. Can you hear me now? Okay. Let's have you re-enter the studio. Can you leave and come back? Thanks, Lisa. Apparently the audience can hear me. All right, let's go to...
Can you hear me? You can hear me? I can't hear you, but just ask me questions and I'll answer as best I can.
So you still can't hear me?
No, I can't hear you. I cannot hear you. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Okay.
I can't, for some reason, I can't get on StreamYard.
Yeah, I can see you. So the audience can hear you. Best thing to do is go all the way out and then start again.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Right.
All right. We are still live, and I'm looking forward to being able to hear each other in just a moment. Thank you for the help from the audience. So here I am saying that, yeah, there's usually not problems, but, I'm not looking at the problems, I'm looking at the solutions. So let's bring Martie back into the house.
Can
And
you
I
hear
know
me?
that I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can read what you say, so we'll just go with what you asked me, and I'll answer.
Okay. Let's actually see if there's if you might not have how do I say this? Go back to here. Um, in the chat, check your audio settings. Okay, we are going to roll with this, and you can hear me, everyone, and I can
Okay.
hear Martie.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so it's gonna be a little delayed, and I'm trying to read what you say, but we're good.
Martie, you have grown up in South America, and then you had no birth certificate, and so you're not even sure where you are born. Tell me about that.
Okay, it's not reading everything, but about being born in South America without a birth certificate. Yes. I have moved 49 times in my lifetime. I supposedly was born in Bogota, Colombia, and that's what my grandmother told me. So I'm going with what she said. However, fast forward to me joining the Air Force, I didn't have a birth certificate. So I asked Mom, where's my birth certificate? Where's my footprints on the hospital receipt that you had me? We don't have one. So I signed up with the Air Force with my little green card from the United States. It was a little baby picture, 4 years old, and that's what I signed up with the Air Force. I was of legal age. They wanted me in the Air Force. I wanted to be independent, and I signed up. But it was not against, or it was everything against my parents' wishes.
Amazing. Can you tell me about what happened when you went into the Air Force against your parents' will?
Yes, I had to plot my escape because when I signed, the recruiters came through the high school recruiting people, and I was window shopping for the best uniform. And the Marines appealed to me. However, when the representative came, I was like, no, I don't want to be a brute. No, no, no. So I went in with the Air Force because I like to fly. And I signed a contract that day because I was 19 years old. Why? I had been left back in kindergarten for not knowing my native tongue. So I'm all gun ho, independent, now gonna be. I went home and I told my parents, and they said, we're moving. You're not going anywhere. And I'm like, oh, but no, this is a federal offense. I'll be AWOL. They'll come get you. And no, I'm going. And they said, we're moving. So I went with them. But my godmother gave me a ticket to fly from Florida because we were in New York. She wanted me to fly from Florida back to New York for basic training. So I kept that ticket in my car trunk, or my parents' car trunk. I was the driver, so they didn't look in there. And the day came where I had to go. But before that, my dad was still trying to keep me at home or arranging for a marriage at the job where he worked. He was an electrical engineer, lived next door to Burt Reynolds, trying to impress me with his riches. I didn't love him. He gave the guy gave me a ring on Christmas, and I said, "Oh, that's nice." I looked at it and said, "Thank you." I didn't love him. So January came and they were at the door, my dad and my named fiance. I didn't accept him as one, but that was the deal. They tried to block me, and I went in the taxi came and I left. Went into basic training. He called me, the fiance called me at basic training when I was allowed to call. It says, "When I hang up, I'm going to kill myself because you are not loving me." And I'm like, well, I didn't know what to say. So I said, okay. Well, he didn't kill himself, but he was trying to. I said, thank God I didn't marry him. But in the meantime, I would receive packages from gift packages, care packages with House Beautiful cutouts, the picture of the car. He had bought me a black Corvette with red leather interior. Had I been all about the material world, I'd have jumped on it and left the service and been AWOL. But no, that was not me. I claimed my independence from everything, even being forced to marry someone else. So I didn't go with that route.
Did your independence come at a cost?
Oh, yes. Yes, it came at a huge cost because I was going against the tide. I wasn't doing anything right. Even as I was growing up, my parents told me when I was 7 years old, I was a mistake. They didn't want girls. They didn't want girls in the family. So I'm trying to figure out, what am I supposed to do? But that planted a seed of perseverance, stubbornness, that I'm going to do this. I'm going to, no matter if I'm the only one, I'm going to do this, prove to myself, maybe to somebody else, but I'm going to prove my independence. So yes, it came at a high cost, and I was always going against the tide, but it also, I said, it made me a rebel without a cause.
Spite is a great motivator. And I don't know if you
Yes,
can
it
read my
is.
lips on that, but spite is a great motivator. What motivates you now?
Ooh, what motivates me? What doesn't motivate me? It's like you say, "No, Martie, I don't think you can do it." It's like a dare to me, and I'm very daring. I've become bold. Before I was a chicken, I was afraid of my own shadow. I wouldn't even have been caught dead talking to you, who I have not met, in front of a camera on a live public. But my life has been epically transformed, and now I say, yes. You tell me I can't do something, I'm going to find out the reason why I couldn't. I'll at least try. And if I fail, I've learned from the lessons and gotten my little building blocks of life skills to go to the next round.
Right. When we have things happen to us, we grow. You have grown. And tell me about what has been really hard that has helped you grow.
Well, like I said, the hardest thing for me was getting hurt. I've had 27 surgeries, and I was in a wheelchair for a while, and the doctor said, your muscles have atrophied because of your nerve condition, and we can't do anything. So I'm actually electronic now. I've got a spine stimulator installed in me. It's a wire that's fed through the vertebral column, and it's connected to my brain stem, saying, you good to go. I'm now dubbed the Energizer Bunny because of it, because I have to charge myself like we charge our cell phones once a month, and it's really cool. But that also keeps my energy going. But what transformed me was I lost 70 pounds, 70 inches. And that was change the mind. As soon the next step was change the mind, and I said, okay. I started taking all these empowering courses about limiting beliefs. I didn't know I had them. I blamed the world for everything that was wrong with me. And then I also learned about, taking a look at yourself, introspection. I said, that's what it is. I've been looking everywhere for the answers that were in me. I came back to the faith. The faith allowed me to see miracles, that I got out of the wheelchair. They found me the right neurologist and everything with that spine stimulator. I was able to get out of the wheelchair, but that didn't stop there. That was the beginning of many things that happened. I became a personal trainer at 62 after losing all that weight. And the Martie from before was all envisioning, okay, I'm going to get a motorized wheelchair that's going to take me up and down the mountains, and I'm going to be enjoying, outside is all I could think of as my pleasure. But no, this has transformed into me writing a book and just opening up the doors to opportunities that inside of me, I didn't know those talents were there. It took the people that God had put along my path to say, hey, you are this. And I would look at them like they're crazy. They must be on medication, drunk. I don't know where they see that I could be this when my life has been that. But my problem was I had all this in my head. As soon as I started making lists, I made a list of all my blessings. That was an awesome exercise, because I started counting all the good things that happened. And then I made a list of all my curses, or everything that I had, and it was like this small compared to a manuscript. And I was like, what a shame for me to think that I haven't been blessed. And what a shame for me not to say, I've traveled so many places. I've met so many cultures. I've learned so many things that most people don't get in their lifetime. So why am I cursing myself and shutting myself out of being the person that God made me to be? And now that I'm expressing all this, it's like I was kept quiet this whole time. And now you can't shut me up.
This is amazing. When we have something that makes us grow, it's hard. Growth is hard. But once we get through it, we have all the tools. So tell me about your tools.
Tell you about my tools. I know English, I know Spanish, I studied French. So, and I even understand Italian. So all the Romance languages come easy to me. Plus, I went to the medical university where I learned a lot of Latin. And I come to find out that Latin is super easy for me. I can't spell it, but it's very, like, if someone says something in Latin, I know what that means because my brain is now open to a whole lot more blooming, I say, of growing. The growth is hard. It takes perseverance, it takes practice, it takes dedication and commitment. But at the same time, I'm so grateful that I'm learning all these things, because those very things is what's lining out my path to teach others to not give up, to teach others to find in themselves what it is that's blocking them, what it is that's making them doubt and fear that they're not worth anything. Because I think most of the people in this world don't get that opportunity to see that they can change their lives, that they can change their outcome of what it is they lived. We can't control everything, but we can control what comes next by the way we change our attitude about our life.
Yes. You know what else you're good at? You are good at reading lips.
Okay, I'll just put that on the resume.
Tell me, you had a lot of surgeries. What was the first one?
The first surgery, they reconstructed my ankle. I tore my ankle, but the second surgery was a knee injury, and that was like a domino effect to my whole body, kind of like riding on a flat wheel and your chassis goes out of whack. Well, I ripped my tendons, all 4 tendons in my right knee, and then the ankle tore on that side. So now I have both ankles reconstructed, my knee. Next thing I know, my left knee was doing the same. I've had a donor tendon put in there. By the time it was just reconstruction after reconstruction, where they ran out of reconstructing me, and they started putting a donor tendon, and that didn't work. So it's like, oh, okay, so I'm not going to be able to stand steady on my feet. But then the spine stimulator, the miracles of the weight loss, just my attitude and everything, I got my total knee. Now I feel like I'm bionic because I have a knee of titanium, a bun of titanium where the spine stimulator is. And I got screws and hardware. So I do feel I have to prepare myself when I go fly somewhere and just ride in a wheelchair barefoot, because I know they're going to, search me down. I light up every alarm during Christmas at shopping. I can't go window shopping in the store because I set off the alarm. So it's all good. It keeps me on my toes. It keeps me alert.
Yeah. Yes. And for the audience, Martie and I connect so much on this because I have my tendons, but not my ligaments. And I had to get my ligament taken out, or my tendon taken out and restrung as ligament. And we've had such similar knee surgeries and such similar neuropathy. So I have brain injuries that have made it so that I don't have proper
I lost you on the
proprioception.
reading, but
I'm talking to the audience. And then I also lost all the nerves in my leg. And so now's where I'm coming back to you, Martie. Proprioception and neuropathy. Tell me about your dealings with neuropathy and how that affected your life going forward. I'm really testing you.
I can't read the bottom line. Oh, my neuropathy. Oh my gosh, that's it's crazy. It's like when you hit your elbow and everything lights up and you just don't know how to stop that pain. Well, my neuropathy affected my knee when I re-injured it, and that lit the whole circuit panel of alarms in my body, where I was ow, ow, ow constantly. It felt like someone was stabbing me with knives all over my leg or putting hot iron on it. It was very painful and it messes with your mind. It messes with your mind because that's not something your body is accustomed to. That's not something you know how to fix, and no aspirin or anything will fix it. So you just have to, relax and try to figure out. But it does drive you insane, because I needed a psychiatrist by the time the pain traveled not only to my right but to my left. So the doctor, this is where I say God kept my sense of humor with me the whole time I was miserable. And he put the pain management doctor in there, and he says, you have a Cadillac for the spine stimulator. Crank it up. You don't have a Yugo. And I was like, okay. So I would crank it up. But at the same time, he says, you got 50,000 miles or 5 years with this stimulator. Well, I listened to him. I cranked it up, and I ended up ending the stimulator's life before its time. And I said, I thought I had a Cadillac. And then he says, okay, your pain has traveled everywhere in your body. You don't have a mono sound, you have stereo. I said, give me quadraphonic, because this thing is everywhere. So I'm very electronically charged. And at the same time, it was hell with the psychiatry, because I had to go back and really go back to everything that had happened to me wrong. But the way they were talking to me, I just was living in the past. And I didn't want that anymore. I was done with that. I had tasted independence, and I wanted to start anew with a better understanding of how it was that I was to continue. So in a way, I had hints that I needed to take a look at myself, but I didn't know how. And slowly but surely, everything developed. But neuropathy is nerve-wracking, literally, for your mind, for your soul, for everything. So you do have to get help. You cannot control it on your own.
Neuropathy is just like you explained it.
Hey,
Knives.
I can't hear. Don't see anything now.
Knives and things that are not real, but it feels like you're being stabbed and tortured and over. No sleep. This is how you and I are very much alike. What injury did you get in the Air Force that put more surgeries on your radar? What injuries did you get? Let's see. Let me write this down.
Oh, the injury in the Air Force. That was fun. I was stationed in Arizona. I had a weekend duty, and I went there by myself. I used to be in charge of the life system of the Air Force. I was air environmental control systems mechanic. It was cabin pressurization, liquid oxygen, everything that kept the pilot alive and comfortable. So I went up in the belly of the plane, and it was on jacks. The plane was on jacks, super high, and I'm a short person. So someone spilled hydraulic fluid on the bottom of the ladder, and must have not known I was in the belly of the plane, but the ladder got pulled away, knocked over. Everybody was gone from the hangar. I'm still working on the plane, finished. I looked, and I was like, oh, wow, I can't get to the bottom of to the floor. So I jumped, and I stuck the landing. I was like, oh, okay, I'm Mary Lou Retton. No. The next thing I know, I was bedridden for 30 days. I had torn my lower back, and it was like, 30 days bed rest. I even had food poisoning because they tried to be generous with me. It was a liquid diet. When you're in the Air Force, they make you watch your weight. So I was like, so they gave me a piece of ham, and it caused sickness, food poisoning. I'm like, I'm done. So after I got out of there, they said, go back to where you were. I said, back on the flight line. They said, no, you're going to be on light duty in charge of the barracks for inspection. I said, no, this is my attorney wannabe acting up, and says, I signed a 4-year contract to be working on the airplanes. The base commander, the first base commander I was with, he had recommended me and everything. The second one didn't want women on the flight line. And back then, the women were not treated like they are now. There was no such thing as women in charge of anything. And I had to fight that, but I had to get a senator from Arizona to give me the options. And he said, they're not going to admit they're wrong. They're going to retrain you. pick anything you want. I said, okay, aerial photography. Okay, you could do that, but it's not available for 6 months. Go back to what you were doing. Back on the flight line? No. Back to the barracks. I said, okay, no, I don't want it. They gave me an honorable discharge, but they did me a favor. Why? Because I would have never met the husband I have after 42 years. So everything bad brings something good.
I have a question from Mark. I'm going to put it on the screen. What is your why?
What is my why? My why is to leave a legacy of resilience and hope for the world. Why? Because I had given up. I wanted to take my life when I was suffering all this stuff. I wanted to throw in the towel. I didn't have guidance. I didn't have faith. I didn't have anyone to say other than my husband. And I didn't believe him because I think he was, for some reason, I thought he was feeling sorry for me, but he really loved me. And I was unaware of how much love he had for me because I didn't love myself. And I didn't know you had to love yourself to love others. I thought, I'm going to protect my heart so no one hurts me ever again, to say all the bad things that they said to me. But for some reason, God gave me my husband, and he was like my coach, my cheerleader, and everything. He pushed me past my limits. He was the one. It's because of him I'm doing all this, because he's like, come on, baby, you got this. So what if you didn't get a job that you wanted? So what if the careers you had failed? You didn't fail. They taught you all kinds of things. Next thing I know, I'm writing a book. I'm now a worldwide renowned author, which blows my mind. It doesn't even seem like it's the person Martie was years ago. Or I know it isn't. I don't feel the same things. I feel a confidence. I feel a hope. Even in the worst of times for us right now, it's like, it's all good. I can control what I can control. I can't control the rest of the world, but I can control my attitude. I can be grateful. I can be helpful. I can serve. I can do everything that I was taught to do for the good of mankind. So that is my why, for the good of mankind, to leave a legacy of hope. But thank you for asking that question.
We're part of the good of mankind. We are part of mankind, and we forget that. We forget how important we are. When you were born, you were a beautiful, wise soul. And we forget how to be that self. And then we learn, and everything is a lesson. So I love what you just said. And I have some more comments here. There are many comments on your non-materialistic self, which is fabulous.
I can't read.
There.
Well, independence, perseverance. Can you type it up? I don't know why you quit showing me types now.
All right. I've asked to talk about growth. You were a little girl
Talk
born with
about
tools.
growth.
How did you grow to use them?
Growth is you got to grow within yourself, but the tools and everything that that allow you to grow have to be found from within via the sources around you. And that is why it's so important to not be involved in an environment that is toxic. And it's not that you don't want to be around these people that have problems. It's more like not absorbing more than you already have absorbed. And I, trust me, I absorbed way too much of misery in my life. And if I got around other people that were miserable, it was more like a competition who could outdo each other with their misery. And that was so toxic for me. Instead of removing that and saying, look, okay, maybe you can't do this, but look at all the things you could. Why haven't you tried that? And when I got around those people that saw things in me that I didn't see in myself, that's what allowed me to accept that I was different, that I could grow, that I could show a better version of me every day. And it's a lifelong process. It doesn't stop. It doesn't happen overnight. But at the same time, it's so worthwhile, because when you look back, and the only time I look back now is to count all those blessings, to count all those precious things that happened to me and use them to help others in the process. That is the path of a calm warrior. Yes. And in fact, my next book is Creative Chaos Warrior: How to Deal with All That Bombardment of Information, Misinformation, and how to be grounded in your virtues, in your values, in your faith, and discern and decide for your own. Never let anyone decide for you what it is that you want to do, what you want to be, where you want to go. And that, to me, is the most valuable thing. It's better than money. It's better than fame. It's better than any other thing that you can receive, because when you value that, you're unstoppable. It oozes out of you. That love that you receive, you want to spread it. You want to share it. You want to put it in everyone's drink and just have everyone feel that joy of feeling useful, of being heard, of being respected, of being an authority in something that God gave you to share. So it's the coolest thing in the world.
Yes, it is. I agree. That's why I'm on the joyful path. Because I'm here for a reason, and you're here for a reason.
Type it. This is funny. Yes, we are here for a reason. We all are. We all have our unique reasons to be alive in this world. That's why I say that each one of us is unique, a unique miracle, and we have to find out how to dig it out of ourselves, how to develop it, how to tweak it to the point where you feel confident and you feel, that you are giving and contributing something to the world. Because if you don't, then you're always accepting that you're mediocre, that you're just one of the mill, one of the run. And none of us are a number. We are all unique individuals, and we have to stake our claim in our own uniqueness.
I have a question from Phil.
Have I thought about getting a combat veterans perspective? Yes, I've been around combats and or people that have been in combats at the veterans, and they're very blown away by my attitude, because they are old school, and they are like, well, they told me this and I couldn't that, and you don't question and you don't say, and you sit on your hands. I grew up in that kind of household myself, that you never question anything. Unfortunately, I was a curious kid from the day I was born, I think, and I always wanted answers. I always asked the questions against the grain. So the veterans' perspective is, yes, they've been in a difficult situation, but they also need that guidance from the mental capacity of a professional. However, the conversations I've had, they do say, wow, that's really cool that you could get over that. And I said, well, the faith is what branded me to be able to do that.
Yes, there's a point at which things become unacceptable. And when they are unacceptable, we change them. Whether we have people saying, this is the way, you have to accept it, or you have to go by the old school rules. When life becomes unacceptable, we change it, right?
Yes, when life becomes unacceptable, we change it. And that's where we control what we do with what we can do. We can't control everything, and situations will happen, but that's where I say resilience is the best tool that you can acquire. It's in you, and you have to develop it. You have to practice it. You have to have tolerance, patience, dedication, just perseverance, and everything that makes you go and surround yourself with the people that are also motivating you. That helps you increase that acceptability. But we do have to accept certain things that we cannot change. In fact, when I was in the wheelchair, I had gotten to the point where, okay, I'm not going to walk. I'm going to figure out. That's why I was saying the mountain climbing wheelchair or whatever. So you have to give yourself time to accept that you're in a different condition or situation, but there's alternatives, there's solutions, there's different ways to look at it. And that's what helps you get past it. That's what makes you more resilient, when you start finding the different perspective to the thing that you're facing. And if we face things head on and we want to run, because that's my first instinct, used to be fear. Oh no, no, don't get that away from me. Let me be. But if we don't resolve those emotions, they will build their toll, and they will take it out on you, and you will not have peace of mind. You won't be stable, and you won't be able to figure out where top, bottom, or sides are.
Sometimes we're born with an ability to persevere, but whether we are or not, we have to exercise that muscle. And we may not be born with it at all. So then we have to exercise extra hard. So I have a question from Matt. I have a question from Matt.
Yes, we do have to exercise, very much so. And it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle to exercise that mind, that heart, that everything you have when you're aligned properly. And then this is where I see mind, body, and soul. If one is over here worrying about everything that's happening and not focusing on your dreams, on your goals, then you're already disconjointed in one way, shape, or form, and you're not going to make sense of your life. In the soul is what keeps me grounded. That faith keeps me, okay, I turn it over. I accept what I can, and just release that stress, or just dump it out, write it, journal, go outside in nature and just absorb the beauty and the loveliness of life, and forget about all the stuff that troubles you. And it's a matter of changing your attitude, but changing also the old patterns. You have a question from Matt.
Tell me how
My
to
book
find your
is on
book.
Amazon. My book is on Amazon. Anywhere it's audio. Well, I have it in English and Spanish. I have the audio version in Spanish, working on the English. But Amazon, follow me on social media. I'm on TikTok, and I'll leave all the links with it, or I've left them on LinkedIn. But just follow me and you'll find it. And if you have any questions, I will give you a 15-minute consult if you want to get some coaching, just to talk it out and see if you're a good fit for what I have to offer. But I recommend my book to everyone, because it was a catharsis for me, and I think it could be a catharsis for anyone that takes a look at themselves and see.
So all of your links, all of Martie's links are in the show notes. So please connect with Martie. And Martie, do you have anything that you would like to say if you were telling somebody about how to get on the joyful path and they're just starting out?
Yes, a joyful path for those that are starting out. That's it. We have to find joy. There's joy out there. It's joy in us. We just have it all blocked up for all the things that keep us busy in everyday going and crises that we face. But life is good. Life is good. We just have to find the goodness in all the badness that we see. And when you start practicing that resilience, you start going with the good stuff. You start picking the gold out of the dirt. And that is an amazing technique for me, because I used to see nothing but dumps of mess, and I didn't want to even deal with it. But now that I've gotten dirty in the muck and got out of it, and now I'm swimming the backstroke going, this is nice, this is good, this feels great. Why can't people do this all day long? We'd be so happy. We'd have world peace. We'd be thriving and growing in so many different ways. And I know that people hear me and they say, this woman's crazy. Yes, I'm crazy about loving life. I'm crazy about loving people, and I want them to feel what I feel.
That was a mic drop. The gold out of the dirt. I love that. Thank you so much, Martie. I appreciate you, and thank you for being on the show. Thank you.
Thank you, Lydia, for having me. Thank you for putting up with this. This is my practice in resilience. I just proved it to you that no matter what happens, you could still control what the outcome is. I'm just sad I didn't get to hear your voice and engage a little more, but I appreciate everyone listening. And I hope you got a little tidbit of or gold nugget of something saying, I can do this too. I can be that person that I want to be, not the person that life has made me be. God bless you all.
Thank you. And everybody, thank you for being here, and thank you for being in the audience and putting up with our not being able to hear one another. I'm glad you were able to hear everything, and take those mic drops, find the gold in the dirt. It is what we do to show up. And when we do, we can get to that point of thriving and not sitting in wallowing in our stuff. So whatever your stuff is, show up. And I'm really happy about you showing up here for this show. If you liked this show, please hit like. And if you are on YouTube and you haven't done so yet, please ever so gently push the subscribe button. Let me know. Reach out if you or someone you know has lifted you and they've come from a place of lifting, of not being able to lift anything, and they are now lifting others. So that's what the joyful path is about. Those who have in your workplace, in your church, in your community, those who have lifted themselves and are lifting others and have lifted you. If you have somebody like that, I want to hear about them. And if you would like to be on the show, reach out and we'll have a conversation. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next week. Ciao.